Good morning. Welcome back to the I Can't Have Nice Things YouTube channel. It is early. We're going to be working on, can you see it right there? And then we've got a little bit of a hitch I got to finish installing. I'll show you guys that. So first, right off the bat, this is a, gigantic fifth wheel Wolfpack trailer. It's 40 foot. It's a really nice trailer, camper, whatever you want to call it. And the gentleman wanted a receiver mounted on the back of the trailer to be able to pull a boat behind this. As you can see, this is a toy hauler. So it has this giant door that you can drop down as a ramp, and it also drops down and it makes a huge deck that has like little gates and you can put chairs on there. It's really cool. But he wanted to be able to pull his boat. And I realize this isn't an install video because I've already installed it. But just a quick showing you what it is kind of video. I think this is a Curtis hitch. We had to take off our leveling jacks. Those will go right back on. The other one's over there somewhere. Those will go right back on. This, however, is our spare tire holder, whatever you call it. That will not go back on. It will not fit back in its stock location with that bar. Also, the spare tire will not fit in its stock location, which is fine because this tire has plenty of room in this area here. This whole area, I think it's about 15 feet long. It's like a garage in the back of this thing. So he's got plenty of room. So come down here, I'll show you what we've done. This hitch mounts in 4 separate places on this side. So this is it basically. There's a small tube that went here, and then our jacks mounted onto that tube. We had to remove that whole piece in order to get to our bolts that go inside this tube. And there was no trimming. On the other side, we had to trim this little gusset out here. Whatever, this little support here, we had to trim that out. It's no big deal. It's actually not even really holding a whole lot on the other side. This thing has got some terrible welds on it. But we do have a bolt here, 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 and here. So there are 6 bolts holding this together, and you have to punch every single one of these through this frame. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but also you have to drill through the actual tube itself and add those bolts, which I'm not super satisfied with because I'm gonna run a bead of weld on this trailer hitch too. Basically, all I'm gonna show you guys what I'm doing. I'm gonna run a bead of weld there and there, right over here in these corners, just to add another level of protection. It's the same on this side. We'll show you that this pipe is pretty hefty. And this kit you get is a universal kit, so you have to trim it to your trailer size. Just so happens that inside the frame rails on this trailer, we had to take an inch off each side. You want to make sure you do it evenly, otherwise the hitch will be off center, and that would cause a lot of issues with trailering, especially considering how big this trailer is. So I'm gonna go ahead and button that up real quick, and then we're gonna turn around and try to mess with this today. And we'll talk about this when I get to it. All right, we are done with the camper. We're gonna get that thing out of here today. To start on this is a 1988 RM250. It's in really nice shape. Looks to be all factory. I mean, even look at these stickers on the rear fender here. I mean, these aren't even worn. These look, you know, stock. But so the story on this bike is the previous owner had just put a brand new piston and rings. He had the cylinder bored. I have the paperwork on it. I don't know how big it was bored. I believe it was pretty big. And he cannot get it to fire up. I was skeptical about the rebuild because it doesn't seem to have the most compression I've ever had on a dirt bike, especially a 250. It does have compression, but I can't tell you if it's enough. I don't know too terribly much about these RMs. I do know, though, I have worked on them before where they had this power valve, and that caused some issues with some clearancing and whatnot in the head. When they bored the cylinder out, the power valves got into the piston. I mean, looking at the bike, the guy seemed to know what he was doing. Everything is back in one spot. Everything's tight. You can see the new gaskets between everything. I don't even really know where to start. I feel that maybe checking spark real quick and then checking the reeds would probably be easiest. So what I'm going to do is probably yank the seat off and pull the tank off. It'll take me 5 seconds to do that, but it'll let me get to the spark plug a lot easier. They're pretty cramped on these bikes. You can barely get the plug off and the compression tester in there, because that's what I'll do is test the compression. If the compression is low, maybe he cracked a ring putting it together. I don't know. I'd love to get this thing running. This thing is in great shape. And this thing would be a ripper if we can get it to go. Yeah, brand new. Huh. He didn't put any, you know what I'm talking about. He didn't put any, foam. He didn't put any of the tacky stuff on here. Lord, I can't think of what that's called right now. I sound like an idiot. Alright, got it on the bike stand. That'll make it a little bit easier. Wow, this thing is clean. Now let's turn this thing over and see if we have spark. Oh yeah, we got spark. Ugh. We're looking about 90 psi. That's not good. Let's try it again. Yeah. Low compression. That's not good. Tell you what we're gonna do. Let's pull that head off real quick. Give it a little once over. See if we can see anything glaring obvious. I don't know if these had the O-ring heads or that flap gasket. So let's check that. Maybe we'll get a feel for the piston while we're in there. See if I pry this off.
You gonna make a YouTube video on that one?
Yes. Well, we tore that head gasket peeling it off there, but the head doesn't look bad. I wonder if that head's warped. We're losing compression on the head gasket, maybe. It almost looks like there's a discoloration right here. Maybe that's a low spot. That'd be awfully nice if this was a head gasket issue. But let's peek down in the cylinder and see what we're dealing with. Yep, that looks like a brand new piston. Let's just look at that, brand new piston, never been run. What are you doing? Get out of the way. Any piston? Piston's in the right way at least. Got some fuel on there. There's no excessive slop. What you can do to get a little peek at the rings on these is I had to take loose the exhaust to get the head bolts off anyway. So you can peek up in the exhaust port and actually see the piston rings. The very next thing I want to do, if I don't notice anything right away, is I'm going to pop this carb off and I'm going to pop these reeds out. See what kind of condition those are in. I don't think bad reeds could affect static compression. The only other thing that I could think of is these power valves down in here. And I can barely even feel them, so let me do a little bit of looking and I'll turn you back on if I find anything quick. Alright, so here's our reeds. They don't look terrible. I'm not getting any visual open reeds, any broken ones or anything of that sort. It might not hurt to flip these around. Sometimes you can pop them off and turn them and lay them back down because they've been warping this way for so long. When you turn them around, they get some of their life back. So I might do that, but this clearly isn't a major issue. I have a very slight, not a score, but maybe even a surface scratch on the back of the cylinder that could possibly mean a cracked ring during installation. I don't see any other scratching of any kind on the cylinder. I can look in the intake side. The piston's perfect. The exhaust side, there's no scratches. The only thing I could think of would be the head. being warped and this head gasket not sealing properly. I'm down this far already, and I'm gonna have to order a gasket set. So I might as well pull the jug off and get a look at the piston ring. And with the set of gaskets I'm gonna get a new base gasket anyway, and a new head gasket. So I need to remove my exhaust flange here. I don't know if you can see it, exhaust flange. Gotta take that off the head, crack the bolts loose and pull the head off. I might have to take the coil off as well to get room. And we'll get a look at the piston and the piston rings and see if anything's going on there. Worst case, I may take the cylinder over to a buddy of mine who owns a machine shop and have him mic it out for me and see if maybe they're the wrong ring or something. I'll have to check this out and give it a good looking over. All right, well, the piston is in good shape, honestly. The only thing I can think at this point, just for my peace of mind, what I'm going to do is pull this ring off. What you do is you take your ring off and you're looking for ring and gap, and you set your ring down in here and then check your gap between the ends of the ring. And I will go ahead and do that now and show you what I'm talking about, and that's how you size up your rings for your bore. All right, so here we are. A ring and gap is not the worst I've seen, but the smart thing to do here is to go to my local machine shop, and I want them to mic the piston and the cylinder and talk to them about this ring and gap. It's well over 50 thousandths, and I don't think it's supposed to be like that. I think it's supposed to be more like 11, 12, 13, something like that. I might be completely wrong on that, but we're taking this down the road. I'm going to get this looked at. And also the head. I want to get the head checked. Maybe milled, but mostly just checked, make sure it's not out of true. But other than that, I checked the rod. The rod's good. It's actually an aftermarket. It's actually a hot rod crank. So, all right, so I'm going to have to stop it right here for a second. I took the jug, the piston, and the ring to a shop, and it was most definitely out of spec. It was about at 50 thou when it should have been more like 12 or 13. I bought a ring from Wiseco for that piston, and I got it home, stuck it in the jug, checked the ring end gap, and it was perfect, right at like 12 or 13 thou. So from here, I'm reassembling the engine. Unfortunately, I lost a bunch of that footage, so I'm going to basically show a small bit of that. I lost putting the jug on, torquing the head, reassembly pretty much. And then we're going to go straight into the first startup of the bike, and it's a pretty good clip. Now, a good practice on pretty much every engine build is assembly lube. You want to put assembly lube on anything that is going to get any sort of friction on startup. This right here is a critical point. You have to have this bearing lubed. Now, you don't have to use Lucas Oil assembly lube. There's probably 20 companies that make an assembly lube, but this is what I happen to have. You don't have to put a ton in there, but you know, a little extra is not going to kill it. That stuff's really thick. It's meant to be tacky. It's meant to stay in place while you are initially starting this engine up. Let's go ahead and mush that around on the bearings. These are called needle bearings, and they absolutely have to be lubed on startup. So, nice and lubed up. Now our bearing's ready for the pin to be drove back through it. When you do that, you don't necessarily want to just go driving that pin through. You want to give it a couple taps, check it, make sure it's lined up, give it a couple taps to get that pin to go all the way through. They can be a pain in the butt, and I don't have a piston block for this thing. One of those metal things you set the piston on, the skirt on when you're doing this, but you know, we can get it done. Oh, it's dripping a little bit of fuel. Oh, that's probably that extra fuel I dumped in the carburetor trying to help it start. All right, hold on. All right, sounds really strong. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the cylinder cool down. When you first start these up, to break the rings in, you don't want to rev them to the moon. It's not good. So give this some time to cool down. It'll do it quick because it's so cold out here, but yeah, we're good. We'll start this thing back up and do our braking process. All right, cool guys. This thing is running really good. I had to pop my seat back off because my air cleaner actually fell off, but everything is working as it should. The cooling system's cooling. I tried the clutch out a little bit. The clutch is working well. When it first starts up, it doesn't like to idle, but I blame that on it being, you know, 15 degrees outside. But yeah, I think with this machine, I'm going to spend the rest of the day starting it and letting it idle and putting it at a few RPM to get that piston to break in the right way. I'm going to go ahead and spare you the boring stuff of just sitting here and idling it for a few. I'm going to check the plug, make sure everything's good. And then I think we're going to go ahead and take it outside and let's see. You see how snowy it is out there? Yeah, it's bad. We're still going to ride it though. We need to take it for a test rip and see how it does. So that's what we're going to do next. You're running good. That was a blast. Hands are frozen. This thing runs fantastic. Don't know what else to say about it right now. First ride, first impressions. This thing's a torque monster. I barely got it up into the power band, and this thing is spinning tires on the asphalt. So, yeah, I think she's good. I'm probably gonna do some more riding on it before I say the power valve adjustment's perfect and or the jetting's perfect. So a little bit more adjustment, maybe, after I actually ride it for a little bit longer. And yeah, I'm super happy with that. All right, so from a blown up or improperly built dirt bike to a ripper in 2 weeks, I'm pretty happy with that. I think this thing's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a lot of fun on it, especially when the weather warms up. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.